Hello everyone, this is Tremont. The project of our group is called Say Aloud, I'm Safe and Proud, which is about sex education for children. First of all, I would like to do a brief introduction. As you can see from the data, in recent years, cases of sexual abuse and harassment against minors have continued to occur across different regions in China. Sadly, many of these incidents involve very young children who lack the awareness for language to protect themselves. Our project focuses on this urgent issue, helping children understand body safety and personal boundaries. It is especially important in the rural mountain town where we plan to implement this project. In this area, access to sex education for children is extremely limited, and awareness among parents and educators is also quite low. That's why we believe this project is not only meaningful but also urgently needed.
Now I will introduce our project's credibility. First of all, it's contextually relevant. Although children's sex education has made progress in recent years, it continues to face significant challenges in China. Culturally relevant resources remain limited. Our storybook responds to these needs by offering age-appropriate and culturally sensitive guidance. This project responds to practical needs at the bookstore, where visitors are mainly students who have little access to sexual abuse education resources, providing a relevant storybook for children aged 7 to 9 who visit this bookstore. It engages with stakeholders, the owner of Swallow Book House in Fenshui Town, and students aged 7 to 9 reading our storybook will give us feedback. It draws on local practices and knowledge. The storybook uses Chinese with pinyin, and its language is simple without making children feel threatened. It features bright images and children as the main characters, with clear actions and expressive facial expressions. It is informed by diverse approaches and experiences. We drew on both international and local research, analyzing Chinese and English storybooks using positive discourse analysis to develop child-centered content. It benefits local communities. This storybook can teach children the way recognizing inappropriate actions from others and protecting themselves effectively. This project expands the scope of children's sexual abuse education by introducing culturally sensitive and age-appropriate content tailored to our target community, adding variety to the currently limited resources. It is ethical. The storybook uses child-centered language as well as age-appropriate content, respects children's emotions, avoid fear-based messages, and encourage a healthy adult-child communication. And now I will talk about our material. First of all, I will introduce the content of our storybook. This is the storybook's cover, with a title meaning Speak It Loud, I'm Safe and Proud in English, and the three children are the main characters of the story. These are the first 2 pages of our storybook. Children sit around the teacher, and the teacher encourages them to share their experience about inappropriate touch, which make them feel uncomfortable. Xiaomi said that someone grabbed her hand on the way and wanted to talk to her. He touched the place where Xiaomi felt uncomfortable, and she was scared and ran away. And then Yi said someone wanted to play a game with her and didn't let her to tell her parents. He pulled Yi into his arms and lifted her dress. Yi said stop, and she was very scared. Xiaojie said he met someone who wanted to hug and kiss him without his consent. Then he just ran away to find her mom. Then the teacher made a conclusion. When someone touches the place where the swimsuit cover, our own consent is very important. It's necessary to distinguish the bad touch from the good one. There are some good touches, such as the hug of parents and holding hands with the friends. But if you feel uneasy or scared, you need to speak loudly no, and to find a trusted adult to report. These are the final pages. Students learned how to recognize and refuse the inappropriate touch and protect themselves. This is an interactive worksheet which will be posted at the bookstore to learn children's learning outcomes and their feedbacks. This is the English translation of our story text. Now I will introduce our literature analysis. We make a literature analysis from 7 aspects, and now I will choose some aspects to explain in detail. The definition of sexual harassment and child sexual abuse are as follows. In our storybook, we created 3 scenarios that reflect different types of inappropriate behaviors, making children feel uncomfortable. Someone grabbed Xiaomi's hand and touched her where it felt wrong. Someone pulled Yi into his arms, then suddenly lifted her dress. Someone wanted to give Xiaojie a hug and a kiss without his consent. And also, research shows that sexual harassment can occur even before the age of 10, and our target community is students aged 7 to 9. The things children should learn from education books are about child sexual abuse prevention. Our storybook emphasizes where the body boundaries are, who a trusted adult is, how to distinguish an inappropriate behavior from appropriate one, and how to express a refusal. And the way to create a more effective storybook on sexual abuse education for children is to deliver a positive educational message through an engaging narrative that encourages healthy attitudes and behaviors, and the characters should be human. Our storybook's narrative is vivid and attractive to children, and messages are centered how to protect themselves. Self-protection is a positive outcome, and the characters of this book are children and their teacher.
Okay, so in this part, I will talk about the PDAs we did for our project. In total, we did 6 storybook PDAs, and I will highlight 3 key examples that reflect our main design choices. For the first book, I'd like to focus on sight and sound. As shown in the table, the illustrations are gentle and clear with contrasting facial expressions to show different reactions to touch. The dialogue includes short and strong phrases like please don't and no, making the children's voices very clear. In our own book, we applied these strategies by using pastel colors and clear body language and facial expressions to show unsafe touch, and by teaching kids how to say no loudly and bravely using rhyming and repeated phrases. For the second one, I'd like to focus on the sense of touch. In the book, there are several physical interactions like unwanted touching, grabbing hands, or even physical pain. These tactile details make the sense of bodily violation quite real and clear to children. It helps them understand what kinds of touch feel wrong and that these feelings matters. In our own design, we apply these ideas through physical descriptions of discomfort like my heart beat fast or I was shaking, and this helps children connect their inner physical reactions with the idea of unsafe touch. For the third book, the overall style is quite similar to the others, so here I'd like to focus on what we learned from its story design. The story shows three different real life scenarios where the child faces unsafe touch from a neighbor boy, a familiar uncle, and a stranger woman. This variety helps children recognize that danger isn't limited to strangers but can happen in everyday situations. Also, this book, like all the others we studied, uses human characters, not animals. This is a key design choice we've adopted in our own book as well, because it helps children relate more easily to the story and apply what they learn to real life. In summary, our PDA analysis helped us identify key design strategies from visuals and language to scenario choices, which we then applied thoughtfully in our own storybook.
And then we will introduce our material development part. During the week 5 to week 7, we read some relevant articles and reviewed similar picture books and summarized useful points that can be taken in our picture book. And then in the next 2 weeks, we drafted storyline using simple rhyming language and designed characters and scenes matching children's emotions. And in the week 10 to week 12, we collected feedback from our professor and we refined our content accordingly. And then we arranged layout and added pinyin to our content and we finalized the book. So before drafting our content, we have to clarify our target goal, chosen format, language style, and content in order to make our picture book better. And we plan that our language style is simple, rhyming, and emotionally expressive, and our content will be based on common real life scenarios. And in our draft, our professor pointed out that we use the specific identities described for negative characters, like the art teacher, my neighbor, and auntie. And such specific identities may cause to harmful stereotypes and confusion to our learned readers. And what's more, we also lack of clear and explicit description of inappropriate touch. We describe our bad touch like held my hand, touched my hand, and hugged me, which is not explicit as bad touch. So this may cause the educational message of our picture book be too vague. So in our revision, we remove those specific roles to avoid the stereotype and we focus on physical actions instead of the people did them, which can help children to recognize what bad touch is. And additionally, we use emotional rich language to express fear and discomfort. For example, the words like my heart pounding, touching me where it felt wrong, I trembled in fear, and my heart sank. This description helps to encourage children to listen to their own feelings. What's more, we also use the language simple and rhyming, and all the text includes pinyin, which can be easy for our young readers to learn and understand the content. As for our visual and emotional design, they are all hand drawn by our team, and all the characters are designed as same age peers, which can increase the relatability to our young learners. What's more, clear facial expressions and body language are emphasized. You can look at the picture on the right. we draw the clear facial expressions like fear, rejection, and uncomfortable. And what's more, we use vivid colors, soft edges, and safe environment, which can make the content be more attractive for the young readers. And finally, we designed the reflection card for our readers, and there are 4 questions. All the questions were written in simple, child-friendly language and designed to spark reflection, not just test memory. And then each option is carefully worded to help children recognize what is safe and unsafe behaviors. And pinyin is added for our word, and so youngers can easily understand and complete the questionnaire independently. And what's more, we tested the draft with a few children and improved the wording based on what they understand most easily.
So, to implement this project, we designed a three-stage plan. Because of limited time before the vacation, we will first send our storybook and other materials to the bookstore owner next month. In July, I will visit Yin's bookstore in person to set up the space and conduct a 1 month pilot activity. During this time, children can interact with the materials. At the end of the month, we will collect feedback through the questionnaires and also talk to the bookstore owner and customers. Based on this feedback, we will revise and improve the materials. If the pilot goes well, we hope to implement the project more formally next semester and eventually explore opportunities to publish our book.
And then it comes to the reflection part. During making the project and developing our materials, we learned that clear messaging is not just about simplicity, it's about emotional safety, and we should avoid specific roles, prevent stereotypes, and focus on behaviors when we doing such kind of materials. And children respond better to relatable characters, rhyming text, and pinyin support. And in the future, I think we will create tiered versions for different age groups or literacy levels. And we will also work with professional illustrators to improve visual consistency and emotional clarity. And finally, maybe in the future, we will test with more children to further refine the material. And that's all. Thank you for watching.